Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Mindshare podcast. This show is sponsored by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems, a two-time international award-winning marketing suite for sales professionals, as well as REM Real Estate Magazine, Canada's premier monthly magazine for real estate professionals. Learn more about our sponsors by visiting my site, mindshare101.com. And while you're there, be sure to download your free copy of my book, The Ultimate Marketing Bundle, as well as learn more about our one-to-one coaching. Also, when you get to the site, you are going to see a pop-up about our upcoming Mindshare in Toronto. The registration page really only tells you like how much it costs, but don't make cost what you make your deciding factor on. Because too often we're looking at how much something's going to cost us instead of looking at how much it's going to cost us if we're not there. The only other detail that I'm going to give you is that we are going to be meeting in Toronto. It's going to be 2 days. It's going to be May 29th, May 30th. We're going to be having a powerful Mindshare. And again, I'm encouraging you to be there. This isn't your typical event. Once you register, you'll get the rest of the details. But until then, we're keeping this pretty secret and we're doing it very much on purpose. Small group only. I encourage you to check it out. Again, go to mindshare101.com, check out the details of this. And, don't be that person who says, like after the fact, like, I wish I was there. Like I said, it's going to be a small, powerful group, and we're going to be solving really big problems. Check that one out. Today's episode is number 227. She came from Romania to the U.S. in 2003 to build her American dream. And by the process of elimination, after trying to work in data entry in a warehouse, as a sales rep in a jewelry store, a restaurant food safety auditor, and a stay-at-home mom, and waitressing, her neighbor recommended she should be a realtor. Fast forward, she took that step, and then reality kicked her in the ass very quickly. She realized that over 80% of the realtors give up after their first year, and she was not about to be a statistic. At the time, she was broke. She had no sphere of influence, no experience, and she barely spoke English. It took her a few years to get to the rhythm of things, but she can now proudly say that she has sold over $80 million in residential real estate transactions. She has 80,000 plus followers on social media. She's a top 3% realtor in the US. She's been voted #1 social media realtor and a top 125 most influential people by Success Magazine. Through her career, she's been with 3 brokerages. And today she boasts a team of 1,000 plus agents and continues to grow both nationwide and internationally. She says, "My goal is to help as many agents as I possibly can to make a name for themselves in this cutthroat industry. If me, this girl from Transylvania, Romania, with no U.S. college degree, no sphere of influence, no money, no experience, and an accent can do it, then they can definitely do it." Joining me on this episode of the Mindshare podcast is the social media queen of real estate, Gogo Bethke. Gogo, welcome to the Mindshare podcast.
I'm grinning back here. I actually wrote down, wow, his voice. And then I wrote down, I need the recording.
We will definitely get that to you. And thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I think this is
it's a pleasure to have you here. I know our team's connected us and it's exciting. I'm excited to get in this conversation with you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This is so wonderful.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, you've got an interesting story. And that was one thing that I really loved about the bio there. No money. No relationships.
I mean, we had $7 though.
Well, okay, fine. I get that.
Yes.
Like, I mean, when we say no money, like let's be real here. This wasn't thousands and thousands of dollars to start a business, right? Couldn't speak English. And now here you are. I mean, you've hit the big stage. You're on the Mindshare podcast. No, I'm joking. But like, seriously speaking, I mean, first off, big congratulations to you. I say that sincerely. I think having the tenacity and the push and the drive to really make it through and ensuring you did not become a statistic. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
That's an awesome job. So tell me this. We talked about the fact that you got into real estate, but what was the absolute first thing that you did once it started? Like, I mean, friend convinced you, you finally did it. You knew people gave up after a year.
Yeah.
What was the first thing you did on day one once you were licensed?
Well, the adrenaline of it, right? Like, it was so exciting walking into that office, and I was with a smaller brokerage, so they actually had offices, believe it or not. They gave offices to like brand new agents. There were no cubicles, they were just offices. So I felt like I made it from day one when I got an office. I mean,
that was it, eh?
Don't get me wrong, it was an office with 3 desks in it and no window. But I had my own desk. Like I was like, I made it. Like, look at me go. Like I have an office job, right? So I first I was very, very super excited. And then I set up my desk and all that. And then I was like, oh, so no, now what? Like who's gonna
Right.
where are they? Like the people that gonna wanna buy houses, where are they? How are they gonna find me in this office with no window, right? So then I started interviewing everyone. So I've always been the teacher's pet. Like, like if you see me in an event, I'm front and central with a million questions. Like, do not ask from stage if you have a question, because trust me, I have 100 of them, and I'm gonna
Yeah, but hold on a second. I'll tell you, being the guy on the stage, oftentimes most people sit at the back of the room. I love the people at the front of the room that like they're like involved in asking questions and answering things. I think that's powerful and it's helpful for us. So thank you. On
yeah. So
behalf of all speakers, thank you.
front and central, million questions. Like I don't understand that. I don't like not understanding something. So I have zero problem telling you, hey, I don't know what that means. Like tell me more, right? So then I went into the top producers' offices. So there was 2 women and a gentleman in that office that were like, can I say that? Can I say certain words that you can beep out? Like they were like the shit in town, right?
We don't really beep anything out. We just talk.
Awesome. Wonderful. So I just wanted to be them when I grow up, right? Because they seemed like they had it all together. So I went into their offices and I asked them all, like, how did you get to where you at? What is your daily schedule? Show me what you do. Can I go with you to an appointment? Can I listen to your negotiations? Can I literally sit in a corner and watch what you do? And I want to say 2 out of the 3 was very nice. Kind of had an open door policy. One was super duper protective of her slice of the pie. What she didn't know is that with my personality, let's put it this way. I went into her office and I asked her, it was a day where I had a listing and I got an offer on it. And the offer came back with a PITI. I had no idea what PITI is, right? So I was like, I don't freaking know. What is that? And there was a spot. I had to calculate a daily rate. Like, I don't even know what it is. I don't know how to calculate it. Like, can you please help me? And so I went into her office and she looked up from her desk and she was like, oh, I don't know. That never happened to me before. And I was like, you never got an offer with PITI on it? I have a hard time believing that, right?
She didn't
But
want
I
to share.
realized that she was protecting her slice of the pie. The problem with my personality, I'm a sorest loser you'll ever meet. So I wasn't going for her slice of the pie, but now I was going for the whole freaking pie.
Yeah,
So I realized, I'm like, oh, I see how this is going to go. Okay, let me show you how I do this, right? So it was kind of like a fire in my soul of chasing the ones that were kind and they were sharing their knowledge, but B, also surpassing the ones that they were not kind, because it's just how I work.
I like that. You know what? I had a similar story. I won't share it today, but I had a very similar story. Been getting the fire lit in year 1, and as we stand here today, 19 years later, I thank that person, and I thanked that person multiple times. The first few times we ever saw each other, for lighting my fire, and he realized what he had done wrong, and realized he created a monster. Right. So I still thank him till this day. I mean, it's a wonderful thing, but I totally get it. So having no followers around you and, obviously being in this office with no windows, how did you meet people and actually create connections? Because like you said, it's like, how are people going to know I'm in real estate?
My husband, who just walked in a second ago, I wish he was here, he will tell you that probably one of my most annoying qualities is I will talk to anyone. Like, I mean, it does not matter if you're walking through an airport and a person there is just hanging out and a baby's shoe fall off. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, she's so cute. Where are you guys from? Where are you guys going? Like, let's grab a drink, right? Like, I just love people. I have zero problem making a new connection. I totally understand that in real estate, I don't know a single human being who doesn't need to live somewhere. So the way I look at humans, everybody is a potential future client.
I've said that so many times. We'll be at an event and I'll ask everybody in the room, like, how many of you have spoken to any of the staff that work here yet? And I'm not talking just ask for like a drink or something. I'm talking like, ask them if they got a realtor, ask them where they live. And most people sit there like, no, I never really did that. I got a room full of realtors and nobody's had a conversation. Like, if there's a roof over their head, and chances are they got a roof over their head, that's a potential client.
Yeah, everyone's a future.
Keep it simple, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. I mean, I think maybe I naturally got my answer to this, but how did you land your first deal? Like, did it come from somebody you knew, somebody you didn't know? Was it just talking to people? What did you do?
So real estate one had a program that they called, gosh, what was it called? I guess it doesn't matter. I forgot what it was called. Anyway, they would send you leads, right? And then in return, they would take 30%. Well, I was hungry, like hungry.
Hungry.
And they color coordinated the agents, right? So red was like, don't send her any more leads because we sent her 10 and all 10 fell apart, right? Yellow was whatever, orange was whatever, and then green was money. Green was the agents that actually could turn the leads over, right? So I don't know what percentage they colored you green for, but I was green, right? Okay. So they sent me this very first deal, and of course I wasn't green with the very first one. Eventually, right. I turned them over like cupcakes because I was hungry, right? So they sent me this deal, and I go show them the house, and they say, "Oh my gosh, we love it. Let's make an offer." And I'm thinking to myself, "What a good idea." But how do I do that? So that's how the first one went. I was super duper excited. I got lucky. They sent me a lead. I was hungry. I will do whatever it takes to turn that potential lead into a client, right? And I did. And then I had to figure out, how do I open a lockbox? How do I show a property? How do I print the listing ticket? How do I do the tour of how to actually get to the property? What the heck is a code? I remember when I got to the first house and there was a lockbox on it, and I was like,
trying to figure out how to open the thing.
Like, nobody teaches you that. Nobody even tells you there's going to be a lockbox. Right. Nobody shows you how to schedule a tour. Nobody shows you how to map it out so you don't freaking drive zigzag. And then,
so you actually were able to convert your first online lead into a deal.
Oh yeah.
Question: what did you do at that point? Like, what was it? You called me up and you're like, "Hi, David, it's GoGo." You submitted a form on ABC platform.
Yes, I called private. Well, they used to transfer live calls, right? So these were live.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
I would answer, and they introduce you, and they say GoGo is representing us in the Brighton, Michigan area, and I would just start asking questions. Like, if I heard, I'm not a salesperson. I don't ever pitch, right? I'm not like, oh, I'm the best realtor in town. Like, I have done this on this, right? I've never even mentioned that. I'm assuming you freaking know I'm a realtor. You're talking to me for buying and selling a house, right? So I pretty much just, if I heard a baby in the background, I'm like, oh, I hear kids. How old are they? Right? Is that the reason why you guys are moving? If I hear a dog, I'm like, what kind is it? Is it a bulldog? Because if it's a bulldog, we're going to be best friends. Oh, it's a cat? Oh, I don't know if you can do that.
Yeah, I don't like cats.
Right? So I joke all the time, and I try to build like friendships out of it, right? Like, I have so many even to today, I don't buy leads. I never have bought leads, right? It's because I build relationships, meaningful relationship. I don't work for the next commission. I work for the future commissions. Right? So I'm going to do whatever it's going to, even if I have to walk away from this one, just so I know, then I can, so you can trust me for future and realize that I'm not working for my bottom line, I'm working for your bottom line, because I understand that as long as I have happy clients, they refer. I'm never going to have to worry about the next lead if I take care of every single client.
I want to pick out on two things right there as everybody's tuned into this right now. I want you to pay attention to what you just said. There was two things there. One, what do you say when you talk to somebody brand new? Right away, you said, I'm not there to sell. I'm there to ask questions. And that's a big one, because oftentimes what we try to do is go, well, I'm the best because, and this is how long I've been doing, and you want to hire me because, and but, where the reality is, you're digging in to find out about the dog, about the kids, about the cats, about them, and understand what they want. And once we do that, it's important, because that is what's going to, and this is the second thing, it was, one was asking questions for what they want. Two was building a relationship. Yeah. And that's at the end of the day what it comes down to, right? Because that process to try to convert an online lead, a total stranger, a referral who doesn't really know you but might know of you from somebody else, it does come down to asking the right questions and building a relationship with people. Yeah. That's the goal.
And also, I mean, I hate to this sounds wonderful and sounds like I'm a very nice person, but in the end of the day, right?
No, you've already told us you're cutthroat. I like it. I like it. But you understand the game, though, and that's important.
Yes. At the end of the day, you're asking those questions so you can find that pebble in their shoe. Right. Like, yes, I'm doing it because, yeah, I truly want to understand you and get you the best possible deal and the best theories and best schools and whatever the reason is that you are going to shop for, right? But in the end of the day, I'm doing that. So when you get cold feet in the middle of the process, you're like, we're not moving anymore. I'm like, why? Did you adopt that baby out? Like, you don't need a bedroom anymore? Like, where are you guys going to all sleep? Let me remind you, you have a baby that's coming.
I said this to people the other day, right? Dig for their motivation.
Yes.
Why are they doing this? Not just the fact that they told you they want to. Why?
Yes.
Because at some point they're going to lose sight of the why, and they're just going to be focused on like whether they're doing it or not. And you got to remind them about that why for them to go, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we are serious about this.
Yeah, exactly.
Great point.
Realize that baby's coming.
Yeah, right. Like, hello. I love that.
There's only for so long you can sleep on your mother-in-law's couch. Trust me.
It's and again, this is a key point, right? Because oftentimes when we get that inquiry, we're like, let me send you information, send you information, send you information. Then we follow up figuring, did you look at the information? Well, that's not where the follow-up goes. The follow-up goes, hey, do you realize the baby's coming? Hey, the baby's coming. Hey, you know you're having a baby. And obviously we do that a little bit more proper. But that at the end of the day, that's the idea. You're reminding them what their goal is and why they started down this path to begin with. When you can do it for them, you get what you want.
You got it.
So talk to me about social media, because we talked about the social media queen of real estate. Talk to me though. You've got a bunch of social going on. How did you first leverage social to grow your brand? And let's put in perspective to this one, right? One, how did you do to actually drive business? But two, there are a lot of agents out there that understand, yes, I should be using this thing. I'm going to get there. I'm going to do it, but they're not doing it. And they're not doing it because of fear. Maybe they don't know what to post. They're not disciplined enough. What did you do, and what tips or advice can we provide to people on that?
So mine was kind of a little bit of a reverse engineering. Everything I do is kind of reverse engineering. I figure out what is truly the end result that I want to achieve, and then how am I going to get there, and how long is it going to take, and what do I need to do a month from today? What do I need to do this week? What do I need to do today? What do I need to do in this moment to make that end goal a reality, right? So I was like, okay, so I need people, because I know every human has to live somewhere. So I don't need a certain type of people. I just need people that need to live somewhere. Right, which is everyone. I said, okay, where is everyone?
Where? Okay.
Facebook. I mean, everybody and your grandmother has a Facebook account, right? And I was like, well, I don't know people. I didn't go to college. I don't have high school friends. I don't have kids and I grew up on the same street with. I have no one. I was 21 years old when I moved to this continent, right? I seriously don't have anyone related to me by blood on the whole continent besides my own 2 kids. So I was like, okay.
Yep.
So for me, they are strangers. We are strangers on Facebook, and it was really that simple. I'm like, okay, I need to be on Facebook. I just need to be an option for them to know of my existence. And then through the years and the postings and the knowledge that I give and the activity that they see, and through the activity, they see my work ethic and my character, right? Hopefully one day they choose me as their realtor. People in average move about every 7 years. They're on the market for about 6 months every 7 years, right? So that means now I have to entertain them for 6.5 years.
See, I look at it like even at least 10 years, because we talk on average 7 years. But I figure this, if you keep people on a plan for at least 10 years, there's a lot of business coming your way.
Yeah. And then you have to think about that even when they are on the market, right? In those 6 months, that's pretty much the only time they care about what's going on in the market, or time of elections or something happening in the world, right? But other than that, nobody cares what's going on in real estate, right? So that means now for 6.5 years, I have to keep it interesting enough where the name Gogo and the fact that they remember, hey, what is my name and what I do for a living, so they remember. So I post at least once or twice into my feed every single day, and about 15 to 20 times every single day into my stories.
Once or twice a day, daily, and 15 to 20 times a day in the stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know why I do it multiple times a day?
Tell me.
Because I like to see results multiple times a day.
Fair. I like it.
I don't like to see results once a month. I like to see results multiple times a day. I like checks to hit my account multiple times a day.
Well, listen, this is like people who review their goals once a year or look at their marketing plan once a year. I look at it daily. Yes. Right? So it's that whole idea of I'm going to reset every 24 hours. Most people don't reset like 365 days.
And it's so boring. But I sat in a meeting just to look at our SendGrid account, to look at our emails. How many emails do we send out? We have to update our account because we sent out 500,000 emails in 2 weeks. Somebody's knocking at the door, and I don't know where my assistant is or my husband suddenly. So give me 1 second. I'm so sorry, the audience. I'll be right back.
See, this is what happens when you're doing a live show, right? Things happen. People, dogs bark, doors knock, things are going on. But we're having a good conversation here with Gogo about how she got into the business. And, we were connected through my team. She's got over 1,000 agents that are part of her real estate team. And as we've been talking about so far today, she started in this business with pretty much nothing. You know, she came to a country that she didn't know anybody, a language she really didn't speak, no connections. And that was a matter of getting out there and trying to figure out, how do I build this game? How do I build a successful real estate business? And one thing that we really know about building a real estate business, and a successful one, is that it is a people business. And that was something that for her, she recognized really, really quickly, was that, again, it takes people to have success. And when we talk about people, we've got to build a relationship with those people, and we got to know what it is that they want. So Go-Go's, we're talking about that then. And we talk about, you know, the social media and getting out there and sort of success multiple times a day. What kind of stuff are you posting out? Were you scared the first time you did it? Like, how did you get over that? And like, how did you figure out what to post?
So I think one of the blessings that I received from God is that I never cared of what people think of me. I don't have that natural. I know it's a thing for most people. For me, it's never been. So it helped me definitely with social media, because I don't think twice, right? I'm not posting because I'm like, oh, I'm wondering what will Kevin Smith think of me after I post this. Like, that is not, it never crosses my mind. I'm not doing that because I'm searching for someone's approval of me or opinion of me. Guess what? They have an opinion of you no matter what you do. If you don't post, they have an opinion. If you do post, they have an opinion. They have an opinion no matter what. Number one. Number two, people really don't wake up in the morning and start thinking about Go-Go. People wake up in the morning and start thinking about themselves. Only you think about you. Most of the time. Periodically, they'll think about you if you do something or don't do something. Either way, they're judging you, right? So I have a saying, and I actually printed on a t-shirt, is that, and I said it last year at one of my EXP presentations, right? Is that, and everybody's like, whoa, that dropped the mic. I say this all the time. I will start caring about your opinion as soon as I can deposit it into my bank account.
Fair enough. You know what, though? I like the tenacity of that. I like the strength of that, because I do believe, and I've said this to many people before, and my regular listeners, you've heard this before, you know, but did you get on social this morning looking for the secret to the fountain of youth? And if the answer was no, and if you didn't go there to figure out the most earth-shattering news, but instead you did it out of purely out of habit, then understand what I've been saying, and listen to what Go-Go just said. We're not here to worry about what people think or their opinions on what we post. We're going to put something up there, and the people that are going to learn from it or see value in it, that's what matters.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it really still doesn't matter.
People are not my people. But I want to help someone, because this book, if you never read it, The Greatest Salesman in the World. One of my favorite books. Chapter 11 will help you with this exact subject. So if you don't mind, I'm going to read the first paragraph. Is that okay with you? I am nature's greatest miracle. Since the beginning of time, never has there been another with my mind, my heart, my eyes, my ears, my hands, my hair, my mouth for sure. None that came before, none that live today, and none that comes tomorrow can walk and talk and move and think exactly like me. All men are my brothers, but yet I am different from each. I am a unique creature. I am nature's greatest miracle.
I see that you
in the morning, and
you read that every morning.
I mean, I know it by heart now, but read it until you know it by heart, right? But when you realize that you are created by God, and God doesn't make mistakes, you're perfect the way you are. God giving you skills that I don't have to be able to achieve things that I will never be able to do, and vice versa. The only question is, and hopefully I can say this on this podcast, do you have the balls to take action? He also gives you a choice.
The choice is yours. You got one or two of them, or you got two of them. Either do it or don't do it. Right? Do it or don't do it. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So how much time do you spend on social media in a day?
I mean, I could probably check my phone, but I would say, now also, let's back it up a little bit to answer that question. In the past, I used to spend a lot of time on social media. Now I found my home. So my home is Instagram. That's where I make all of my posts. I make every single post myself. And then I have a social media assistant, a design assistant, and multiple virtual assistants that answer all my DMs. The only DM that I answer where you are going to get me personally is Instagram at Go-Go's Real Estate. And I have multiple Instagram accounts, Go-Gopreneur for the TV show, Go-Go Becky as the personality, Go-Go's Bootcamp, you name it. We have multiple, right? With that being said, the only one that I personally answer and the only one that I personally post on twice a day and into my stories is Go-Go's Real Estate on Instagram. From there, my social media assistants take it and they plaster it everywhere, into Facebook groups, onto YouTube, onto LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, name it, everywhere. Emails go out with similar content, then we share that content, right? So if you would look at all the hours that is spent on social media, it's probably 2 full-time jobs every single day.
Right. But what about you personally?
For me personally, probably less than 2 hours a day.
Okay.
And that's including answering DMs
Yep.
that I personally have to answer. That's including making the actual post, looking at how the post is doing. It is important to look at your insights.
Mhm.
When I decided to do social media, well, it wasn't like I decided, right? I had nothing else to do. So the decision was made for me. But now that I know that it is my full-time job, that is my job, right? I don't cold call, I don't door knock, I don't do this and that and all the other things, right? So if somebody's a cold caller, they wake up every morning and whatever, and then from 8 to 11 they dial, and from 11 to 2 they have lunch, and then they go show houses or whatever their schedule is, right? So for me, social media is my job.
Okay.
So I take it very seriously, but through the years I built the systems and the people where it doesn't take as much of my time as it would have. I mean, I would not even be able to have as much of a reach as I have today if I didn't have help. It's not possible.
No, and I'm with you, and I'm in the same boat as well. I mean, we post multiple times a day. We post the stories, but I've got a team that definitely helps me with it. It's my content. I'm the guy, but at the same time too, I haven't got the time to put out as much as we put out. It is a driver, so we continue to do so. That being said, would you say that real estate deals are getting done on social media, or is it a place where you connect with people, an extension of you and your brand, and then it turns into get them in the database, do the follow-up, and start to build a relationship? Tell us about that for a second.
So it's not, I mean, it's a little bit of, I would say, very small portion of it is a direct message, hey, go, we need to buy a house.
Right.
It's the awareness that you build. It's as I tell people, is just your job as the market. First of all, the best marketer wins, my favorite saying. Second of all, your job is to be an option. So my job when I do marketing, my content marketing, right, is to be an option on their mind. So think of it this way, that they are scrolling the internet. They have no needs for real estate, right? And they're just doing this.
Mm-hmm.
One eye open, just trying to get to the end of Instagram because they're going to bed. And that thing's going to pop up from that go-go chick again. Oh, that's right. There's that go-go chick. And yeah, that's right. She does real estate. Do you think they're going to read it and watch the video? Absolutely freaking not. Probably 80% of the time they don't.
Okay.
What happens is I just reminded their subconscious. There is a go-go chick and she does real estate.
Go. We call that building Mindshare. There you go.
I just want to be an option in your subconscious.
That's
so the next time when you have a thoughtful thought, meaning that you're actually thinking about buying real estate, there's going to be, the first thing's going to pop up in your mind. Oh, there's a that's right. That's a go-go chick. I'm just going to reach out to the go-go chick, right? By that time, they are probably in our database, because usually what happens is they come to my Facebook page, they look at some of our listings, right? And then we capture their information. So I think it's very important to be a massive data collector. Like I'm a data collector. That's what we do for everything. And then have good follow-up, right? Like, so that's pretty much, they're going to end up in our KV core more than likely. Our KV core is set up for automated drip campaigns and things like that. So we will touch them in multiple different ways. I also, because I built connections, like usually it ends up being a text. And now I'm no longer in production. So it's the text that I'm getting now is just like, hey, just letting you know, I talked to Clancy and we are listing the house on the 15th. Clancy's amazing. Oh my gosh, she's just as good as she was last time, right? So that's the type of message that they still want to know that I know, right? That you're working with us. And I absolutely love that feeling. So now it's a little different. As I mentioned a second ago, I am no longer in production. So I built a team. I'm licensed in Michigan. I built a team in Michigan, but we live in Florida. So I don't even live in the state where my team is at. And we did $3,000 short of 500,000 GCI last year with 2 agents, and never bought a lead. I don't have an office. I don't even have a printer. I have 0 overhead.
Talk to me about that right there. I was going to ask you about the bought a lead. Now it's interesting because that's where your whole career started. But now that you built a following, you built your brand. What's your take on online leads? And let me preface that by saying, for many years, this game has been very much about repeat referral, work your database, build relationships. That's where the gold mine is. And we see a lot of agents trying to spend money to take themselves away from needing to do the door knock, do the cold call, do the heavy lifting, do the relationship building, put themselves out there on social media. And they figure that if they spend the dollars, they can build their business. Now, most of them don't have a big enough budget to do this anyways. We know the people that are really winning from online leads, they're spending thousands of dollars a month, not just on generating the lead, but then the infrastructure behind it to make it work. Most agents haven't got those dollars. What's your tip? First off, do you spend money on ads and of that nature and branding and whatnot? What's your take on that, and what advice might you give other agents about that?
So everything that I teach is the organic social media marketing. Now I haven't had an amazing organic.
Sorry, keep going. People like listening audio didn't see, but I got excited about that. I was like, yes, keep talking.
So I'm like, if there's a way to do something for free, trust me, I know it. If there's an app, I have it. That's pretty much how I work, right? I try to keep my overhead as low as possible. Now, if you see my advertising, I do have multiple businesses. One of them is my boot camp. And for my boot camp, which is called Gogo's Boot Camp, we do run advertising. We are redoing the boot camp right now, so there's no ads in the system, right?
But you're trying, forgive me, you're trying to sell a program on that.
Exactly. I have never
run right? Yeah.
In 12 years of my real estate career, I've never run an ad for generating real estate leads.
Perfect.
Okay. So, but people's like, well, I see you all the time. I'm like, yeah, but you see me all the time for Gogo's Boot Camp, not for Gogo's Real Estate. You're trying to generate leads for my Michigan team. Gotcha. Right. So that is different. Yes, you should run advertising, but here's my 2 cents on it. Yep. Try to build it as strong as you can organically, because then when you start advertising is much cheaper because you're just retargeting your already existing warm audience. Right. And so you're spending less and you're getting more, what's the leads I'm looking for? More, worthy leads, right? Like they're actual leads.
Quality, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the quality leads, right? Instead of getting strangers off of the internet who you have to convince to work with you. Yep. The difference with when you're targeting your warm audiences is that you're just reminding them what you do, right? Versus convincing them to work with you. They already follow you. They already chose to follow your page, right? They're somehow, somewhere during life, they have met you. Now it's just a friendly reminder, hey, this is what we do for a living. And also, I think it's very important to get very good at what I call shameless self-promotion.
Yep.
We don't sell real estate, guys. I sell me and you sell you. The question is, if Joe Schmo over there is trying to buy or sell a house, why should Joe work with me versus working with you? That's what we are selling. We are selling ourselves and our services. And the faster you learn that and the faster you get comfortable with selling yourself, think of it this way. If I didn't tell David of who I am and how amazing I am and all the things that I have achieved, for him to read it up for you guys here at the start of the show, would he know it? No, there's no freaking way. David has other things to do. He didn't wake up to and be like, oh, I wonder if Gogo Chick exists and what her bio looks like. Like, no, my job is to market myself. Your job is to market yourself. So then the Davids of the world can find out of your existence and they can invite you to their podcast. Right? So you have to constantly brag. When you achieve something, when you sold the biggest real estate transactions you have ever did, if you closed it in 21 days versus 30 days, if you got a cash deal to close in 7 days, if you figured out something on the title side of work, on the new construction side, of the appraisal side of you saved a deal because you knew someone. Like all of those things you have to tell the world, because otherwise they have no idea knowing how amazingly badassy rock star you are.
Love all these points that are coming up. And I think from a social media perspective, and again, guys, I want to go back to this for a moment. The reason I'm focused on this right now is because she has come to, this country, built a business that she started from nothing, got past the fear of putting herself out there, didn't care what people's opinions were, just started going. She has openly said that she's not doing direct business through social, and says she's building a lot of mindshare and creating opportunities to do so. Then on top of that is, well, what do I talk about? Well, again, talk about what you do. Talk about how you help others. Talk about the successes you've had. Start putting things out there so people can see that you exist, but understand that money is not going to be the solution to complacency. Money is not going to be the answer to this whole social media game. It is going to be about your drive. It is going to be about the connections and the relationships you develop with other people. That's where it comes from. From an online ads perspective, again, it's not about that. This really comes back to creating relationships. So I guess maybe on that might take me into this question of like, what would you say is the biggest misconception that agents have about how to grow their business when it comes to this industry that we're in?
I think especially when it comes to social media, they don't consider it work. They're like, oh, you're so lucky. Oh, it's your accent. Oh, it's your blonde hair. Oh, it's the two balloons in right?
The what?
My balls.
Yeah, I
I like
gotcha.
to carry them up here, right? As I like to say. So it is a lot of work, and nothing works, guys, unless you do. That is the biggest misconception of people trying to find the easy, quick way to riches. It doesn't freaking exist. If it did, we all freaking be rich on the beach sipping mimosas.
Yep.
It's a lot of work. Your only differentiating factor is your work ethic. It really comes out to that. And the
So would you say that that's what it is then?
absolutely.
Like when we talk about how you grew your following,
yeah,
is it because you were out there being genuine?
Oh,
actually being consistent.
So when you do social media, let's get to the basics. The truth and nothing but the truth every time, because the truth will come to surface. So if you decide to do social media, it's truth and nothing but the truth. Is the good, bad, and the ugly. I lost my front tooth. This is a $14,000 implant. I didn't have a front tooth for 8 months, David. Not days, not hours, not weeks. 8 months.
Wow. Did you go on social media when you had no tooth?
Absolutely.
Did you? Did you show people this gap in your mouth?
Oh, I did presentations on Zoom. I had a flipper, a big plastic piece, and it would annoy the living whatnot out of me. I mean, I would pop it out in the middle of a Zoom presentation. I popped it out on stage.
Oh my God.
Because I couldn't.
Talk about not caring and not having any fear.
Because again, that doesn't pay your bills. People's opinion doesn't pay your bills. Not only that, but when you show your true side, I can't tell you how many amazing heartfelt messages I got, and how many business partners I earned, and how many clients I earned in the times of vulnerability.
Listen, being real with people, and you know, when I say dropping your guard, you know, sharing the good, sharing the bad, you know, being able to open up a little bit. I'm not saying you got to get on and do a live about you crying or bawling your eyes out about something. I'm not, you know, just looking for that, but the realities of who you are really, really crucial. And I'll go back a moment here. When you talk about stories, that's what I say to everybody. You want to get to know me? Yes, follow the feed. You're going to see real legit stuff. That's me. You want to get to really know me? Watch my stories, because that is legitimate. That is me in the moment, real deal. The only thing separating us is the fact that you're looking at me through a screen. Outside of that, you're going to live it and breathe it with me right in that moment. And I think it's fun. It makes you real. And this is how you, again, grow a following, which I imagine is exactly what you did by being out there and just growing the following, right?
You allow people to get to know you for your real parts, right? So you follow me in my stories, just like you are. The feed is your storefront. That's your professional, right? Imagine if you had a boulevard of realtors and there was a bunch of different stores. Why should someone come in and buy something from you? That's your feed. That's your storefront. Your cat doesn't make it on there. Your lunch doesn't make it on there. Your kids don't make it on there. Your vacations don't make it on there, right? Anything that is business related or mindset related or can help another human with a real estate transaction or mindset or an investment or anything like that, that's what's going to make it onto your feed. Into your stories, where you allow people to truly get to know you. In my stories is where I sing karaoke with no front tooth.
See, but it's real. It's very real.
Real as it comes, yeah.
So we you know, speaking social, what other marketing tactics do you believe that agents should be using to grow their biz? Like, obviously, a lot of what we've talked about here, a lot of it happens online, but I very much imagine that a lot of what you're doing, the conversion almost happens offline through being with people, through having real conversations on a phone call. What other channels would you suggest people are using to grow their business right now? And maybe just even bullet points at the moment.
So I would strongly recommend that when you are doing posts, right, your posts will have to be kind of covering 3 things. First paragraph is kind of the catchy part. Why should I read this? What's going to catch my attention? The middle part has to be a story. Stories sell, right? Facts sell, stories sell. So you want a story, that's what's going to sell. A fact just going to tell them the facts, and that's boring. Nobody's going to remember. A story they will remember. And at the end, what am I trying to achieve with this? At the end, your job as the marketer is always take them somewhere where you can collect their information. I'm not posting to post today because I have nothing else to do. I'm posting today because I'm selling your product. I'm posting today because collecting your information. I'm posting to get into my email database. I'm posting today to whatever the reason is. So if you decide that social media is the avenue you want to take, you're a data collector. So every post, Your job. So think of it this way. When you're on the Facebook and the Instagrams and the TikToks and the LinkedIns, what are they good at? They're good at generating traffic to their site. Did you have to wake me up today to remind me to go check my Instagram? No, I automatically go there. I like that, right? That's just what I do. So do millions and millions of other people. Now, our job is to use that traffic that they organically generate and take them off of that platform and tell them where I want you to go. That's what a marketer does. So now I'm going to take you off of there and to get you into my KV core if you're looking for a property in Pinkley, Michigan. If you're looking for an agent attraction course, I'm going to take you off of there and take you to my agent attraction course. If you are looking to invite me to a podcast, I'm taking you off of there and telling you where to go to schedule me for a podcast. Right? So you have to look at every single thing. You're not posting the post to scratch it off. Oh, okay, I did what Gogo said. I posted. Where are the leads? My favorite is like, Gogo, I posted. Where are the leads? I posted. Hundreds of thousands of times to have what I have today. It doesn't work like that, right? No. So make sure that you are, what's the word? That you're, I'm not scheduled. Don't get me, it's not like a pre-plan. I don't know what I'm going to post tomorrow. I post whatever's on my heart the next day, but you want to be able to take them off of Instagram and take them somewhere where you can collect their information or take a payment for something that you are selling, right? Maybe you are like, hey, I'm doing a buyer presentation. I do it every Tuesday between 7 and 9. Even if you're not on the market for a next home, but you just kind of want to figure out what is like in the buyer's market today, just schedule a Zoom call with me. Here's my Zoom link. See you there, Tuesday at 7, right? So now I told you what I do every Tuesday from 7 for mine, and I literally spelled it out to you what I want you to do. I want you to schedule a call with me, and then I gave you the link.
You do a lot of phone calls?
No.
No?
Depending. So for agent attraction purposes, so the Team Gogo organization is over 1,000 agents. Yeah. Now, when someone decides that they want to partner with me, then absolutely. And it's Zoom calls. So I like to see the people. Okay. I like, especially when I'm showing you what our brokerage can offer, I need to be able to share my screen, right? So then it's usually, I would say 90% of the time is Zoom calls. Very seldom is cell phone calls, but also my cell phone number is nowhere out there for the world. So my phone actually, finally, I can say it's very seldom actually rings. It's people that know me in person, but they also know my schedule. So Monday to Wednesday, they usually don't bother because I know you can call me all day long. I can't answer because I'm booked.
Well, you said there's a lot of emails going out. You said that there is the social media channels. There's the DMs that you respond to. There's the Zoom meetings. So there's a lot of support happening there. So now when we talk about this 1,000 agents, you know, what kind of time is involved in a day to try to build a team like that? I mean, you know, how did you start building that? Where did that even happen? Did people just start joining on the regular? Like, what was it? Was it you doing the shameless self-promotion as you talked about? I mean, there's a lot of folks that want to start a team. What's that jumping off point there? 1,000 agents plus, it's a lot of people.
Yes. So you learn a lot, right? It's not like you wake up one day and suddenly you have 1,000 agents like, oh, what am I going to do with them, right? It doesn't work like that. So first of all, with the brokerage that I am with, we get to build 2 different ways. So my local team in Michigan, that's called GRAD, Gogo's Real Estate Team, right? We call it GRAD because it's shorter. I have 2 agents on there. I moved out of the state. Now we live in Florida. And that team, I am not planning on growing, right? They just, all the organic transactions that come to us, those 2 agents do it. They did 62 or 72 transactions last year, as I said, $500,000 GCI. And I'm perfectly fine with that. That one I'm not growing. Now, with the brokerage I'm with, we get to grow internationally because we are an international brokerage. And so when I joined the company, I told my sponsor, I'm going to have 100 agents. And he's like, when you bring 100 agents, I'll buy you a Rolex. So today I have a Rolex. It's upstairs. Because hey, Charlie, tell me something. Like, do me a favor and tell me something I can do. I'm going to do it twice. Take photos.
Yeah. Cool.
Right? So, I don't know why I say sometimes things that I do, but when you say it out, then I'm going to do, right? But when you're saying it out loud, now I have to own it because I'm not a loser. Now I put it out there to the universe of what I'm going to do. So now I have to own it, right? So as you grow, you're going to have different challenges. When you have 20 agents and they're going to text you, maybe 10% of them going to text you today, that's 2. I can handle that. But you have 1,000 and 20% of them going to text you, that's 200. I can't handle that.
No.
So when I started getting to the point where I would come up from an hour podcast like this and I had 49 text messages, I'm like, we have a problem. So you definitely have to build as you grow, right? So you have to bring on support staff. You can build an empire by yourself, right?
You know what? This is one of the things that I say about, again, when you're building out a team, people don't, you know, they do it as this bright, shiny, I have a team. They don't think about the infrastructure that's needed behind it. And it really does require infrastructure because now you're essentially getting up to feed a gorilla every morning, right? You've got to make sure that things are happening. You know, the
beauty monster.
Yeah, the train's moving down the tracks. I mean, if you're not, then you're not really leading anything.
So actually, I have a training. Never mind. Just so
Talk to me about this. Busy, lots of messages, having a team. You're not doing a lot of transactions anymore, you said. Talk to me about the work-life balance. Are you like you said, you don't schedule the social media posts, but are you an organized person? Have you got a work-life balance? You checking your social. You seem to enjoy life. You mentioned you're living in Florida, so you see a lot of palm trees daily. Like, you're scheduled.
out of my mind.
Same. Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you what I'm doing. November 12th on a Tuesday at 11 o'clock, I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Every Tuesday at 11 o'clock, I am doing a podcast. Every Monday, I am back to back to back with all of my companies have an hour meeting. So Mondays, I'm 9 hours of meetings. I'm zoomed out of my ever-loving mind.
For sure. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Tuesday morning, I start with coaching calls. Then I have a team. So my coaching calls go from 8 to 9. At 9, I have a team call. Then I have a little time in between. Then I have a boot camp call. So for my other business where we build our websites and our systems and yada, yada. At 11, I have my podcast. At noon, I'm open for an hour because at 1 o'clock, I have a live webinar. So my webinar goes until 4 o'clock. And then I have another half an hour that I'm bringing a brokerage over today of 20-some agents. So I have a presentation at 5 that's probably going to go until 7. So I am so scheduled, but I work Monday to Wednesday. So as of last year, one of my best friends passed away. And I realized she lived about 8 minutes from me, and I haven't seen her for 3 months because I was too busy building an empire and not slowing down to smell the roses. So now, in order to slow down, you have to create a bunch of mini yous. So I spent the last year creating a bunch of mini me's. I also spent the last year looking at my businesses to be like, does it make me the money for how much time I spend?
Right.
If it's not, the question is, am I shutting it down? Am I selling it? Am I hiring someone to fill my position and losing 50%, but gaining 50% because I gave my time back, right? So a couple of my businesses, we shut down. A couple of the businesses, I had a partnership with them, we separated. So he kept one business, I kept the other two. And so as you're growing up in the industry, and then you hire a lot of help. And when you hire a lot of help, you build a lot of systems. Right. And I'm huge on DISC assessment. So you have to know who you are and why you are the way you are and how you work. Right. And then you have to hire the help that have skills that you don't. Because if they have skills that you do, A, they're not going to be able to help you with things you can do. Right. But B, you're going to butt heads. So for me, it's very important to discuss as the people that are going to be spending the time with you and just hire a lot of things out. So I work from Monday to Wednesday. And those hours I'm scheduled out of my ever-loving months out. For example, last year when I made the decision that I'm going to, my friend passed away in May. I made the decision that I'm going to only work Monday to Wednesday so I can actually have some time with friends and family, right? So that was in May when she passed away. My first Thursday off was in the end of November.
Scheduling is absolutely imperative in making sure that you know exactly what you're doing. And I do believe in the work-life balance and taking time to enjoy life, because we're not doing that. What's the point of everything else we're doing? Now, as you talk about the growth, we know that the agent attraction perspective really comes from putting yourself out there, being on the social medias, having the conversations with people, being real, not wanting to lose. So having that constant drive. Much of everything you've talked about today very much comes back to connecting with people. And this, through the social media strategy, through the brand awareness, through the constant mindshare building, through the scheduling, and through the conversations and communication strategy, this is where this team of over 1,000 agents has grown from and is going to continue to grow.
Yeah. So I want to add on very quick to that. We created a hub. Right. So now that we have 1,000 agents, we said, okay, what does everybody need? What are the questions that they ask us all the time? And what is the easiest way to give it to them without them having to come to us? So what we call the Team Go Hub, it's a website with the login information, right? And anything we can think of, it's in there. Our weekly schedule is in there. Our Google Drive is in there. Our onboarding process is in there. Our onboarding department is in there. You name it. Our map, how we refer to one another, is in there. So if you want to build massive, you have to create the infrastructure first. If not, it's going to
Always.
Right? So always think about, what do they need? How can I automate it? And not just having the people, because can I automate that? Can that step be somewhere where they don't have to come to my people? They can find it somewhere, right? So build a hub, hire a company that knows what they are doing. It should cost you a couple $1,000s, right? With the login information, and then hire a virtual assistant who can give them access to that. And voila, you just reduced all of the text messages.
A lot of people just sat there and said, what? Well, I'd say easier said than done, but you've done it. Tell me this, end of the day, your day wraps up for you. You're about to lay your head down. How do you know it's been a successful day for you?
Oh, that's easy. So I'm a note taker. I
Oh,
have
that's easy. Yeah.
pages and pages and pages of notes, right? So everything that I do, I mean, I could build house. There's 3 notebooks. Oh, watch this. I have 1 notebook here. I have a sheet because I don't have a notebook for my YouTube account yet. I have an Airbnb notebook. I have a Remarkable for my thoughts. And then I have my old notebook that I literally just fill to the rim. Like all next to me right here, because these are all active notebooks and I need to access the information. So it just sits to my left. And then I have my active notebook right in front of me. So as I sit down, so first of all, the schedule that's in my calendar, it gets done no matter what. Even if life is happening to me, if somebody's in my calendar, I will honor your time. So right now I could have been like, well, but the guy's here. He needs to set up my internet. Instead, I made him wait an hour because sorry, you can't do it right now. I'm on a live call, right? So number 1, honor what's in your calendar. Well, first of all, put it in your calendar. Second of all, honor what's in your calendar. And then third of all, I write notes in between, right? So those random little thoughts that pop up like on a podcast, I'm like, oh, shoot, I need to text that person back. Or, oh, shoot, I need to say, oh, I need to pay that bill. Oh, I need to, right? Those are the random thoughts that get written down in between the appointments. And as soon as it's done, it gets checked off. So in the end of the day, when I look down, I'm like, because sometimes you feel like you were on a treadmill all day. Like you were going and going, but did I actually get anything done? Right? And then when I look down, I'm like, yes, I honored everything in my calendar. And on top of it, I got this, and this done.
You're talking my language. To have a successful day, we need to plan it. We need to schedule it. We need to action it. And once it's done, check off that we did it and then recognize you did it. It'll be a successful day for you.
And it feels so good when you like cross that
It
out.
really, it's that little dopamine dump. And that's what I try to tell people, because that's where you build out proper habits, right? Once you get that dopamine, you feel good about something, you want to go back and get more of that. It's like going to the gym. You go do it, you feel good, you want to go back.
What gets celebrated gets duplicated.
Give me some final words. Tell us where we can find you. Where can people go check you out, learn more about you? Give us some final words before we take off here.
The quote that started the fire inside my soul is this one. If you don't build your dreams, someone is going to hire you to build theirs.
Great parting words. Gogo, where can people find you?
Gogo's Real Estate, or Gogo Batkey, or Gogopreneur, or Gogo's Bootcamp, or Gogo stuff.
And I encourage you all to go to Instagram and check her out. Gogo, don't go anywhere, okay? Speaking of going, don't go. Got me?
Got it.
Thank you for thank you for joining us on the Mindshare podcast today.
Thank you so much.
I'll be right back with you. You are either listening to this live, maybe you're you're not actually listening to it live this week, but you're watching the recording. Maybe you're listening to this on one of your favorite podcast platforms right now. Maybe you went to mindshare101.com, and while you're there, be sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle. This is a 31-page ebook, including a 90-day social media content calendar to help you build more mindshare so that you can get more market share. A reminder as well that if you want to talk about personalized one-to-one coaching, an in-person keynote talk for your upcoming event, and or ongoing virtual training, just get in touch with me. We'll set up a consultation call, learn more of what you're looking to achieve and how we are going to help you do just that. Also, make sure to get registered for a small group mastermind taking place on May 29th and 30th in Toronto. This is going to be 2 powerful days of collaboration, networking, and problem solving. You can check all that out at mindshare101.com. Of course, please do not forget to leave a review of this podcast. Go over to www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. Be very grateful if you took a moment to do that. And connect with me on Facebook at Mindshare101 and on Instagram at David Greenspan 101. I want to take a very quick moment to thank Kits Keep in Touch Systems as well as REM Real Estate Magazine for sponsoring today's episode. Be sure to visit our site, learn more about what these powerful companies will do to help you grow your business. This has been another episode of the Mindshare podcast. Thank you for tuning in.